everybody, and welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today, we're tackling something I know a lot of you are working on, thinking in English.
For sure.
We're going to unlock that fluency, and trust me, it is going to feel amazing when those conversations just flow.
Right.
No more mental dictionary gymnastics.
It's a common hurdle. Thinking directly in English is the key to sounding natural.
Yeah.
Like the difference between reading sheet music and actually feeling the rhythm.
So how do we even start rewiring our brains? I've heard about immersion.
Yeah.
Does that mean like I need to book a flight to an English-speaking country?
Not necessarily. You can create what I like to call English pockets in your everyday life.
Love it.
Start by switching your phone's language settings to English.
You know what? That's such a good idea because it's those little things we do every day that can make a big difference.
Exactly.
What about watching movies or shows in English?
Absolutely. But don't just passively watch.
Right.
Try shadowing.
What's shadowing?
Find a clip with clear audio.
Okay.
And repeat each phrase immediately after you hear it.
It's like right after.
Mimic the intonation, the pauses.
Wow.
Everything.
So it's like
a pronunciation boot camp for your brain.
we're essentially training our brains to process English, like in real time.
Precisely. It strengthens those neural pathways and helps you react more quickly in conversations.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about actually like thinking in English?
Yeah?
Where do we begin?
Let's start with baby steps.
Okay.
Simple, everyday thoughts.
Okay.
Instead of mentally translating,
Yeah.
I'm hungry, just think I'm hungry in English.
Oh.
Try with your to-do list. Walk the dog.
Huh.
Call mom.
Aha.
Finish that report.
I see how that would slowly make English feel more natural. But what if I get stuck and forget a word? I don't want to revert back to translating.
That's a great question, and it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
The key is to stay in English mode.
Stay in English mode.
Try describing the word instead.
Okay.
Imagine you forget the word umbrella. Could you think, I need that thing that protects you from the rain?
That's such a good workaround. And it's like a mental muscle for creative problem solving in English. What other strategies can we use?
Have you considered thinking in pictures?
Thinking in pictures, what do you mean by that?
Bypass translation.
Okay.
By directly linking words to images or feelings.
So we're essentially cutting out the middleman,
Exactly.
the translation step. Okay.
When you see a dog, don't think of its name in your native language. Picture the dog
Okay.
and think dog
Gotcha.
in English.
I like that a lot. And the same goes for feelings.
Right. When you feel happy, connect that feeling directly to the word happy in English. No need for a mental detour.
It's like building a direct pathway between the feeling and the English word. That's fascinating.
Now, this next strategy might feel a little silly at first.
Oh, I love and bring it on.
Get ready to embrace your inner monologue.
Oh.
We're talking self-talk in English.
Is this where I start pretending I'm in a Shakespearean play?
Not quite, but close. You can narrate your day. Think through problems, even have imaginary arguments all in English.
So instead of thinking, I need to brush my teeth in my native language, I would think, okay, time to brush my teeth in English.
You got it.
Yeah.
You're basically giving your inner voice an English accent. And if you're alone, say it out loud.
Okay.
Get used to hearing yourself speak English. It builds confidence.
I can see how that would help with pronunciation and just feeling more comfortable. But what about building up a vocabulary that allows me to have those complex internal conversations?
That's a great point. It's like trying to build a house with only a hammer and nails.
Right.
You need more tools to create something complex and interesting. How do we power up our English vocabulary without getting bogged down in endless word lists?
Context is key.
Okay.
Instead of memorizing isolated words, try learning them within phrases.
Gotcha.
So instead of just apple, you learn, I love eating apples. That makes a lot of sense. It's like giving the word a home in your mind.
Exactly.
A place where it actually makes sense. What about using flashcards? Are those helpful?
Flashcards can be fantastic, especially for review.
Okay.
There are tons of apps like Anki and Quizlet that make it fun and easy to incorporate vocabulary practice into your daily routine.
And let's not forget about like the power of phrases and expressions.
Absolutely. They're like shortcuts to sounding more fluent and natural.
Totally.
Instead of constructing every sentence from scratch.
Yeah.
You can plug in these ready-made chunks of language.
I like that. It's like having prefab building blocks for your thoughts. Okay, so we've got the tools, the vocabulary, the phrases, the mental imagery. Now it's time to put it all into practice, right?
Exactly. Real conversations are where the magic happens.
Because in a real conversation,
Yes.
there's no time to overthink or translate.
Right.
You have to think on your feet in English.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It forces you to pull out all those tools we've been discussing and just go for it.
I imagine it's a bit like jumping into the deep end of the pool. A little scary at first, but exhilarating once you start swimming?
It is.
What advice would you give to someone who's feeling nervous about taking that plunge?
Remember that everyone makes mistakes, especially when learning a new language.
It's part of the process.
It is part of the process. Don't be afraid to stumble, to pause, to ask for clarification.
Yeah.
Embrace those moments as opportunities to learn and grow.
Progress over perfection.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's so easy to get caught up in trying to sound perfect that we forget to actually enjoy the process of learning.
Totally celebrate those small wins.
Easy.
Be kind to yourself, and most importantly, keep practicing.
It's like any skill. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes.
And the reward of fluency, of being able to effortlessly express yourself in English, is so worth the effort.
I couldn't agree more. It's a journey of self-discovery and a way to connect with the world in a whole new way.
I'm feeling so much more motivated to ditch that mental translator and just dive in.
I love that. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with today?
I'd like to leave you with this.
Okay.
Think about the specific situations that make you revert back to translating in your head.
Okay.
Maybe it's ordering food, talking about a complex topic, or having a disagreement. Once you identify those triggers, you can start consciously applying these strategies to overcome those mental hurdles.
That's a fantastic point. It's about becoming aware of our thinking patterns and choosing to think in English even when it feels challenging. It's like we're training our brains to think in English, muscle memory for the mind.
Exactly. And like any good workout, it takes time and consistency, but the results are so rewarding.
We've covered some really great strategies today, from immersion and baby steps to visual thinking and self-talk. I mean, it's amazing how many different ways we can approach this challenge.
And remember, it's not about becoming fluent overnight. It's about making that conscious effort to think in English.
Right.
A little bit each day.
Yeah.
Those small efforts add up over time. This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that thinking in English, it's a skill. And like any skill, it takes practice and patience.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Celebrate those small wins, be kind to yourself, and most importantly, keep those English thoughts flowing.
So to all our listeners out there who are on this journey to thinking in English, remember you're not alone. Embrace the challenge, have fun with it, and most importantly, keep practicing.
And who knows, maybe one day soon you'll find yourself dreaming in English.
That's a great goal to strive for. Until next time, happy learning.
Until next time, keep practicing and stay confident.